Yeah, so we were just talking a little bit about manifesting, and
Ooh,
it's
manifesting.
yes, and it's one of those things that like can really attract us to people who are in the false light paradigm.
Hmm.
And actually, over the summer, I was actually attracted to one of these people because it seemed like she had everything going for her. And I was like, I want to find out more about this.
Right.
And I drilled more into it. And there was just so much um, false light and judgment around
Yeah.
people who weren't manifesting things, kind of like, once again,
Yep.
like it's your fault.
Yep.
Um, and it really disappointed me because I really wanted to find out more because I have manifested stuff before, but there
Hmm.
seems like it seems like it works better for the people who are in the false light paradigm than for others.
Yeah, right there. So what's fascinating about the false light paradigm is they create this illusion of superiority and illusion of effectiveness.
Ooh.
Like
Ooh.
if she's judging other people for not manifesting, she's judging herself for not manifesting. You know, what you judge other
Right.
people on are self judgments. It's like
Right.
you pass that on to other people. So it's like she's got these hidden judgments. The whole false light is like,
Yeah.
I have this glorious way that works and it's perfect and it's wonderful and this is going to do it and you suck. I can't believe you're not doing it. How dumb are you? You know, and it's like it uses that
Yeah.
to try to lure you in to
Hmm.
this sense of perfection and like they've got it all together. But
Yes.
truth,
Yes.
how much does she have it all together and how much
Uh-uh.
is she actually a total wreck?
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
when you went through her book, like you could
Right.
find that it's like, yeah,
Right.
no,
Right.
this is not right and this is off and this is funky and
Oh yeah.
it,
Well, actually, a lot of it was like she was judging herself for certain things,
mm-hmm.
but I was seeing it as like, oh, that's obviously energetic attack. But she's
Oh,
thinking there's
got it.
something wrong with her,
Yeah,
because, and it was, but
yeah.
it is. But the part that really comes down to it is, how can we use either information that they have, or let's not even mention that. No, that doesn't even work. But what things can we tap into so that we
Yeah,
can create more of what we want to in our lives?
yeah. And receive.
Ooh, receive. Ooh.
Wow, wow. So what are all the points of view that we have around manifesting or creating?
Oh
Hi
God!
there.
Wow! Woo!
That's more than one in the
Yes,
pile
in the pile,
and
in the pile.
encapsulate.
Woo!
And what is everything we decided manifesting or creating means that it
Ugh.
doesn't mean?
Oh, wow!
Notice what comes up there
Yeah.
and in the pile. And what is everything we decided that manifesting or creating doesn't mean that it actually does mean?
Mm.
Ooh,
Ooh,
feel that.
ooh,
That
there we
feels
go. Wow.
refreshingly heavy,
Yes.
delightfully yucky. And in the pile,
Whew.
what are all the decisions, judgments, conclusions,
Conclusion,
computations,
computations,
projections,
forms,
expectations,
expectations,
rejections,
projections.
separations,
Whew.
form, structure, significance?
Significance.
Yeah. Yep, in the
Wow.
pile. Wow. And what is everything that we're aligning and agreeing with around,
Ah,
let's do
manifesting.
manifesting.
Ah.
What is everything we're resisting and reacting to?
Oh,
Oh,
oh God.
whew. It was everything
Yep.
that we're defending for,
Whew. Oh.
defending against,
Ah. Yep.
righteous for, righteous against.
Ah.
Oh, and
Wow.
in the pile. Wow. And encapsulate and body planet, let it go, not you, not
Not you,
yours,
not
not you,
yours,
not
not
yours,
you,
not
not
you, not
yours,
yours.
not you,
And
not yours.
everything
Whew.
from down below, including for the planet, in
Oh.
the pile. Behind, up above, way up front, left, right, inside, outside, everything remaining. And body planet, universe, let that go, not you, not yours, not you, not yours. Never was yours, never was yours. Let it go, let it go, let it go. There we go. And can we shrink all that down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose that.
Yeah, I choose that.
Ooh.
Yeah, I forgot to add, what is all the unknowable, unspeakable,
Unspeakable,
unseeable,
unseeable,
untouchable,
untouchable,
undetectable,
undetectable, ugh,
unconsciousness,
unconsciousness,
anti-consciousness,
anti-consciousness,
energy
energy
fog,
fog,
disinformation
disinformation
cloaking,
cloaking,
Wernicke's
Ricky's
commands,
commands,
booby
booby
traps,
traps,
and
ugh,
all the covert, unseen,
unseen,
unacknowledged,
unacknowledged,
undisclosed
undisclosed
energies and
energies and
frequencies.
frequencies. Ugh.
Wow.
Wow.
And in the pile, encapsulate, down below, back behind, up above, way up front, left, right, inside, outside. Yeah. And body planet, let that go, not you, not yours, not you, not yours, let it go, let it go, let it go. Can we shrink all that down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose that.
Yeah, I choose that. Ooh. Vaporize. Oh, finishing.
Yeah, because when we were talking about that, I got for the first time that I've been looking for the information that they have about manifesting to help me manifest. But what if they really don't have that information?
And most, when you look at the all the false light stuff, my interesting point of view is that it's got hooks in it.
Yes, exactly.
So it gives you pieces of what seem like cosmic wisdom with a fuck with you in there, and it snags you. And if you want the good stuff, you're taking the bait and you're taking the hook with it, and that one comes with another one, comes another one, comes another one. Before you know it, you're mired in stuff and tangled, and you're like, why am I tangled? And you got fish hooks and wires and
exactly
and stuff, and you're like, but when I look at the core of the false light stuff, and like even the word manifesting,
there's something funky about that.
There's something about the word manifesting. How I look at it is I ask body about it. It's like, body, how do we manifest something? And just notice the response. My body's like the dog tilted head sideways.
It's like what's that? Oh,
yeah.
Mine's same.
And so if I ask body, how do we create something? Body's like, there's information there. It's like, body's like, okay, I got a clue on that. It's not a great word for body because it's still a little fuzzy. It's like if we say, well, body, how do we have something, or how do we get something? Body's like, oh, well, like, I know that. So it's like, you look at the word, and all the words that the new age people use, you want to check those to see how body feels about that word, because you can pull up any one of those words, and most of them are synthetic.
Yes,
they take you into a synthetic reality. Your body doesn't know what to do with it. So in order to engage manifesting, you have to exit your body, and you have to go into a synthetic reality where manifesting is a thing that's been programmed into that reality.
Ooh, wow. Programming has a really big read on.
Yeah. It's like a programmed synthetic reality where if you plug into that space within the kind of like the illusions of that reality, you can get the sense of manifesting. When I was there, like, and if you've hung out with new agey people, and we all have, you may have even
been there sometimes, or been them sometimes.
Yeah, I've been there. It's like they're so desperate for manifesting that they'll use that word on anything that shows up, even like simple things. Oh, I manifested a box of cookies at the store. It's like, well, they sell cookies at the store. You didn't manifest. Oh, yes, I did. I manifested them. They don't always have cookies. Right. Okay. Like they look for places, and then they use kind of pathetic excuses as evidence of manifesting. And then they go, see, I can manifest, because on a physical level, it's not actually terribly effective.
Right.
But in a synthetic up in your head kind of reality, you can kind of create these stories about, oh, well, I bumped into so-and-so, and they told me about this. And there is an authentic universal synchronistic, although the word synchronicity is kind of a little funky, loaded, but it's like there is something where you ask the universe for things.
Yes.
And you're kind of downloading information, which makes it more aware in your reality. So you see it more clearly, and you're more inclined to find that. But it's not a mystical thing. It's more of you're clearing, you're just bringing in new information that lets what's relevant to you be more obvious to you.
Right.
That's how I perceive it. And there is a certain amount of co-creation with the universe involved in that as well, but they kind of hype it and amp it up.
Right. And what's interesting is, like, when we were going into that, I was going that when you talked about that, there's this belief or this energy that manifesting is supposed to be there. It's supposed to be something that you can just do. So even if this isn't correct, it like taps into, one of those beliefs or, so what is that?
Well, they're taking the word manifesting and they're like, when you first heard the word manifesting, did you know what that meant?
No.
Somebody had to explain it to you, right? It's like, it's not in your natural lexicon of information. It's a buzzword of the false light agenda, of the new age movement. It's like they then give you a definition for that. They tell you what? What do they tell you it is? No, what do they tell you manifesting is?
Oh, that you can create something by just thinking about it.
They're telling you it's creating. So they've taken this word, this buzzword, they've reprogrammed it for their purposes. They've kind of like copyrighted it energetically so that when you engage it, you're engaging this synthetic reality. And then they've repurposed it. They've said, well, this is the word you should use instead of creating. Because when you use the manifesting word, it's magical.
But they don't even tell you about, it's not really even creating. But what's interesting is I was like, as you were explaining that, was getting the part about they're taking what you actually can do, which is create.
Right.
They're saying, no, you manifest, which pulls creation out of it.
Right. But what's interesting is when you look in the dictionary, and let me pull this up here, is manifest, to display, show, exhibit, or evidence of. It's not actually even the actual creation of.
It's not really anything.
No.
It's not a physical thing.
No.
They're all things that don't physically exist.
They're not things about actually creating or about bringing they've kind of manipulated the word into something that it's actually not.
Yep. Woo, that is a lot of energy on it.
Yeah. So what are all the manipulations, interference, or programming that we've picked up or taken on from the new age paradigm, false light paradigm, that are not to yours or your body's at local advantage? Wow. In the pile.
Yes, I choose that.
In the capsule. And everything from down below and back behind, up above, way up front, left, right, inside, outside, everything remaining, all in the pile. And body planet, let those go, not you, not yours. Never was yours, never was yours. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Yeah. And can we shrink all that down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose that.
Yeah, I choose that.
Vaporize like a fireflies. Well, that's actually really crazy because like when I started this call, I was just like, how can we manifest? And now I'm to the point where it's like, well, you don't want to manifest. It's just like,
bingo.
I was like, it's almost like the original reason for this call. I mean, the overlaying one is now gone. It was like, no, I don't want to manifest, but what do we really want to do? We want to do what we've been told manifesting is creating more or co-creating with the universe, more of what we would like.
Yeah. Co-creating with the authentic universe, because you can co-create in a synthetic reality, and that nothing has happens. A whole other ball of interesting things that occur. Most of what you create in that reality is, besides distortion, like it's kind of like you're actually not creating so much in the physical reality, but you're hyper focusing on
you're creating in
connections. Well, it draws you into a synthetic reality where there's all these stories and there's all this interference and drama. But it's like what you create, you don't actually create more. It's a hyper focus on connecting with synchronicity to magically bring you things, which a lot of times most people that I've noticed in the new age, and I did it too, it's like if you use manifesting correctly, it's like you say the magic words and it's just somebody's gonna knock at your door, you're gonna open it, and there's $1 million in a big box sitting there waiting for you. Like that it, like, it's this, when you look at it in the physical world, you're like, that's just not how this reality works.
Right.
But they give you these stories that make you think that it's not about taking action. It's not about doing anything. It's just about asking the universe using just the right language, and then it's going to mysteriously appear. And it causes you to get into that paradigm of, instead of taking action, instead of doing what I already know and in building on that, I'm going to let all that go, and I'm going to jump ship into this synthetic realm where I just say the magic words and somebody magically brings it to my door, and I don't have to do anything. And they're almost like, if you're doing something,
it's
you're
wrong.
not doing it right.
Exactly.
Because the money's just, somebody's going to hand you the money in a briefcase. You know, it's like, no, that's not how this reality works. Like, can that occur? Yeah, but usually when that occurs, and if you go behind the stories that people tell you, they'll be like, yeah, somebody just gave me $1,000. Yeah, and what they don't tell you is the rest of the story is you loaned it to them 2 years ago, and you eventually pressured them to give it back to you, which they should have done a year ago, and now they gave it to you, and you're not giving us the whole rest of the story. But that's manifesting. I just manifested $1,000.
Or they also
do that
do it,
stuff a lot.
What they also do it the opposite way. You know, you get a parking ticket. You know, oh, you manifested that because you weren't thinking positive thoughts. So then people start going, it's like, oh, well, I can manifest. I've just been manifesting shit. Okay.
I've been manifesting all the wrong things. I keep thinking about the wrong things, but I can't seem to control my thinking, because if I'm in a new age reality, I'm not actually controlling my thinking. That synthetic reality is, and you're in a trap. Like, you can't get out of that. It's like, good catch. So you end up making yourself wrong.
False light is really good at doing that.
It's really good at doing that.
Because I mean, that's the part that I always comes back to, is that, you know, their main philosophy is, if something's not working for you, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
You know, and it's never any external forces.
Nope.
It's always just you.
Just you.
Whew.
That's all there is just you and the angels. And there's nobody else. If you've been talking to the angels right, they'll bring it to you.
Yep, and they're only contributive angels.
Oh, all of them. Yeah. There's nothing that's working against you. It's just you fucking it up. That's everything that brings up.
Yep. Woo! Vaporize, liquefy, vaporize, liquefy. Woo! Yeah. Well, we got a little bit on the false light rant, which is very easy to do.
It's very
because
easy.
As soon as you start seeing that stuff, and then all the times that we've been hoodwinked by what they said over, you know, multiple years, it's just like, wow. But
I spent like 5 years tangled in that. Like, it was
just 5.
Man, maybe it's closer to 10.
Well, because I was in it even before I really knew about that, from just that little bits. And
and it took me a bit to kind of untangle all the weird little stringy things and the languaging. There's so much about the languaging, the games they play with the language. It's brilliantly conceived of.
Well, especially to disconnect you from your body.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah. Because it keeps taking you into frequencies that are synthetic. You know, it's like all of the new age words, and can I use the word all? I'm going to say almost all of the new age words are when you ask your body about them, they don't read. They're just not relevant. So
yeah.
So what do you do instead?
Yes. Yes, that was my question. That's my question, because we have talked about that before, about, you know, and especially I really like the part about co-creating with the universe, because that's one of those ones that does have a lot of read anyway.
Yeah. So for me, what I end up using is, let me grab this document here. Share. This is something, and it's really good. Some of this is from Access Consciousness, and some of this is from my own thing, but it's like, when I diagnose creating or manifesting, bringing stuff into my reality. What I look at is that it's like it's usually one of these four categories,
Yep,
and there's
exactly.
some more subtle things, but it's like, are there things that I need to choose? So
Mm-hmm.
like whatever, when things are not flowing, I'll be like, okay, so is there something I need to choose?
Mm-hmm.
Are there questions that I need to ask?
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to take action on some part?
Mm-hmm.
Or is there something I need to clear?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and for the longest time, I was in the kind of whole clearing paradigm, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like clear, 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 and then I'm like, just in this blank space, I'm like, well, how come nothing's happening? Well, all I did was clear.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have excessive nothingness, it's you need
Mm.
to go to choose
Yes.
because you haven't chosen what to do. You've cleared a space, but now what?
Ah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I appreciate this document because it's the more advanced than the one that you showed me before, like
yeah,
probably a year or so ago. I really like that you have the excess ones on the bottom. That's really
yeah,
helpful.
yeah. Because like that. That's yeah. So if you find that you're choosing a lot, like you're making
Mm.
all these choices, but something's not coming to you, you're probably in fantasizing and daydreaming.
Yep.
And the solution is to take action.
Mm-hmm.
And for most people, this is kind of where interference kind of mucks with them
Exactly.
a bit, because they're like, oh, well, I got to figure it all out, and I got to make sure that I do it in the right order, and I got to do all these steps. And so said,
Whoa.
this is the right way you got to do it.
Whoa.
And so the shortcut for me is something that I took from Sage Levine,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
where it's ready, fire, aim. It's like the universe is actually looking to have you take action. So it's like, just choose a direction and fire, take action. Just
Mm-hmm.
start taking action, any action.
Yes.
And then look at, okay, is that going in the right direction?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, it's like you take your first step, and then, okay, where should I put the next step? And then where should I put the next step? But most people, especially in false light, new age, they
Mm-hmm.
don't take action, because the whole paradigm of manifesting is about asking and receiving. Like, you just ask and it shows up at your door.
Mm-hmm.
And while yes, asking and receiving works, doesn't totally work that way.
Mm-hmm.
So the other thing that you might have to do if you're just aimlessly working is you need to ask questions to kind of clarify your direction.
Mm-hmm.
And there is and I call it question mastery.
Mm-hmm.
When you learn how to ask questions to the universe, you can ask questions, and then you energetically download the answer. No brain,
Mm-hmm.
no
Yep.
thoughts. It's just you feel energies in your body, and then your body digests that. And the next day, the day after that, the day after that, you just start to have an awareness of,
Mm-hmm.
I should do this, or
Yes.
maybe I could do that. Where you may have thought about it before, but it didn't seem very close or relevant. And now it's like,
Mm-hmm.
it's closer to you. It's more, you see it more clearly. So the more questions you ask, the more you start to just get a clearer picture of where you want to go. And if
Mm-hmm.
you're the kind of person who's constantly asking questions, you're into philosophizing, then probably you've been snagged and you need to clear. So that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of how these
Yeah.
dance together. But
Mm-hmm.
I kind of got long-winded with that. But
No, I appreciate that because that's actually, one of the really valuable ones that course that when you taught in your original Out Creating course, that was
mhm,
really helpful
yeah,
for me because I do play with that because it's also clearing is one of those ones that, we can get in this place where it's really fun and easy and we can feel
mhm,
energies move. And
mhm.
then, yes, you still have to take action.
Yeah. And actually, all of those categories, it's like clearing is fun and easy because you've done it such a long time
Uh-huh. Yep.
and so often, and you see the causal, like,
Mm-hmm.
I clear this and I have more space and
Right.
I can do more. Like, you get that. If you do that around choosing and recognize that when I choose this works. Like,
Mm-hmm.
when I make this
Mm.
concrete, I am going to choose this, and this is what I'm going to do. Excuse me. You
Mm-hmm.
really get, like, that makes a difference. you get good at choosing. When you get good at asking questions and recognizing that, wow, when I
Mm-hmm.
ask questions, I just start to know stuff in the
Mm-hmm.
days later. Like you get, like it's a skill. The same as
Right.
taking action is a skill. If you're not used to taking action, like
Mm-hmm.
you recognize that you just start. Like you just
Mm-hmm.
start and you get better at
Right.
doing it by doing
Uh-huh.
more of it. When you get all four of those categories,
Mm-hmm.
creating just gets easier. So for a lot of people, it's just which category are you not practiced in,
Mm-hmm.
and focus on that until you get good at that. Once you get good at all four,
Mm-hmm.
creating becomes just kind of more
Mm-hmm.
natural. Like, and what if it should be natural?
Yeah, because that's what it should be. Yeah, but that actually was interesting when you were saying that that time. I was looking at how you were saying that was when you're talking about choosing with this. It's almost like it's with a force or intensity.
Mm-hmm.
And what we often do is we make a choice. It's like, oh, I'm going to do this, but it's not with that firm
Yeah.
intensity. And so,
It's it's the difference between the new age choice.
uh
It's like, oh, I choose this. Universe, bring it to me. I'm ready to receive now,
huh.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's like that choosing is different than this is going to happen. I'm going to
Yeah.
do this. And
Yeah.
okay,
Uh
what
huh.
do I do now to make that happen? Like it's the next natural thing after choosing is just to take action.
Hmm.
Like and that's the
Hmm.
strength of choosing.
Yeah.
It's almost a demand in your reality that
Yes.
this is going to occur. I choose this to occur.
Right. And I've done that for certain things. When something's really bad, it's like, oh, I'm choosing for this to happen, and it does. But we often don't take that firm of choice for those other things.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I am so wanting this like vacation to happen, and I'm going to
Mhm.
choose that and do it. And so it's interesting as I was looking at all those things, is I'm using the word force, but it's not really that. It's more like an energy. It's not
Yeah.
like, oh, I just do this. It's like, no, I'm directing energy
Yeah.
towards this.
When I've
Whew.
clearly chosen something,
Mm-hmm.
it's as good as done. Even if I haven't, like, there's this energy in my being of, like, yes, this is right. There's an internal alignment of forces that's
Right.
like, bam. And that's where sometimes it gets weird, especially the more aware you get. It's like you're looking for that internal alignment. You're kind of fishing for all of the pieces to line up. And as you become more aware that you sense all of this extra stuff around you, it doesn't work the same way as it did at the lower levels of consciousness. It's like
Okay.
when you're creating at lower levels of consciousness, it there's a certain amount of it's kind of easier, like, oh, I kind of choose this, and then it's almost like there's like little things that show up at your door, and um it you kind of look for what shows up.
Uh-huh.
You choose, it's like, okay, I'm not sure what path yet, but I've chosen this, and you kind of pay attention, and then a stream of something starts to show up, and you follow it, and
Okay.
that takes you somewhere useful. And it's like that choice solidifies in that stream, because like there's an alignment there, and there's a co-creation that occurs there. And that's when you're
Mm-hmm.
living sort of unconscious, and you're kind of under the radar of interference.
Mm-hmm.
Once you cross over and you start to become a clearing maniac like we do,
Mm-hmm.
um, you've alerted the matrix and the interference in this reality that your intention is, and you probably already have broken out of
Mm-hmm.
the typical constraints. So like you're in a different game now. You may as well be in a different planet. The rules are a little bit different, because it's not just you co-creating under the clouds, under the radar with the authentic universe. It's now the clouds are gone, and there's another group of players that are interference.
Uh-huh. Yep.
So it's now they're involved too, and they're going to dissuade you from
Yes.
things. So it's like creating becomes a bit more sophisticated, because you're
Mm-hmm.
co-creating with more players.
Uh-huh.
So it requires more awareness. You can't just go, oh, I hear this voice that says I should be going in this direction. It's, well, that's probably interference trying to take you
Right.
off your path.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, how do you know? Well, that's
Uh-huh.
where increasing your awareness and, okay,
Yeah.
well,
And
that's
asking
what
questions.
interference
Mm-hmm.
sounds like. And asking questions and really checking with your body, and like you're using your awareness
Mm-hmm.
and your intellect
Mm-hmm.
and your body, and you're kind of collating all that together to
Right.
find what feels authentic and true for you. And
Right.
some of it still is kind of, I
Yeah.
don't have complete clarity, but I'm just going to start
Mm-hmm.
taking action. And the authentic
Right.
universe works. You can perceive it more when you just keep taking action
Yeah.
and re-clarifying and take action and
Mm-hmm.
re-clarifying and clear and take more action and clear and
Right.
take more action.
Yeah. And then what you when we're talking about that I'm getting is it in some ways it requires more clearing when we get to these higher levels, but it's for a different kind of reason.
Mhm.
You know, it's clearing the forces that are messing with us rather than clearing our internal blocks or limits. You know,
Yeah.
well, we'll do
And
that too, but
some of those forces are the internal limits that have been programmed into this reality.
correct.
It's like all the viewpoints that this
Yeah.
reality tells you about how you should live and how things should work and how you should do a job and like
Mm-hmm.
what all. And so there's all that conflicting information that as you become
Right.
aware is
Yes.
more vibrant. It's like it's there in your reality tugging at you,
Yeah.
but it's programmed. It's not authentic. So it's
Correct.
distraction. So that is also a, okay, I'm going to clear all the points of view I have about that.
Exactly.
And then, yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. And so kind of like my takeaway from how we're approaching all this is to be, I want to say, energetic about choosing, asking questions, taking action, and clearing.
Mhm.
And it's that combination of doing those with, and I'm going to say like an intensity or an energy besides just like, so it's not like
Yeah.
going
It's
through
not
the
just
steps.
wishing.
Right. And
Yeah.
it's not just wishing, it's actually really choosing and
Yeah.
not just choosing, oh, I'm going to have this sandwich. It's no, I'm having this sandwich,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And it's
Oh,
like
uh-huh.
the confusing part is the choice is what brings the information.
Right.
When you're under the radar and there's not interference, it's a little different. It's almost the other way. It's like you kind of ask a question or you choose something, and then that brings the information, and then you take action. It's
Right.
like once you're above and you're co-creating with interference, there's a degree of, I choose this, I'm going to take action towards it. And once I've taken an action, it's like I've notified the authentic universe,
Right.
this is where I'm going. And then you get more feedback and
Oh,
interference is there too. But if
okay.
you don't ever take action towards a direction, you don't get the co-creation
Yeah.
with the authentic universe. And you
Right.
don't get the feedback of, okay, a little bit more to your right, a little bit more to your left. Like,
Correct. But
so
it's also what I was getting is that when you choose, but then don't take an action, that's when interference can really get you because it stops you from taking that action.
yeah.
So it's almost like you just choose, and if you don't take any action right away, interference is just going to work to stop you.
Yeah.
Whew.
And the other piece is interference recognizes significance.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It does not have any fucking idea what you're trying to create. No clue. It can't read your energy. It can't read your mind, though it tries to tell you it does. It manipulates it. It distorts, but it doesn't totally understand your thinking. So it's like what it's learned to do is anything you make significant, it's like, oh, there's something. Okay, so as soon as you make, most people in the unconscious world create using significance.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing you want to do in the enlightened world or in the world beyond once you've got interference with you, when you've broken out of the game and
Mhm.
you're seeking to become unlimited and you're co-creating with interference, it's like you're I'm sorry, I'm being interfered with here. When you make that choice, yeah. So what is everything that's
Yeah,
upper
yeah,
active? And
yeah.
what is all the unknowable, unspeakable,
Unspeakable,
unseeable,
unseeable,
untouchable, undetectable,
untouchable,
unconsciousness,
unconsciousness,
anti-consciousness,
anti-consciousness,
energy
energy
fog,
fog,
disinformation
disinformation
cloaking,
cloaking,
Wernicke's command, booby
booby traps,
traps, covert,
covert,
unseen,
unseen,
unacknowledged,
unacknowledged,
undisclosed,
undisclosed.
energy, and
Woo!
frequency.
Woo! Yeah.
Wow. And
Yeah.
in the
In the
pile.
pile, in the pile, in the pile, in the
Wow.
pile, in the pile.
Encapsulate. And what is everything that's upper active? What is everything that interferes with you? I think that's what we called it out in a way where it's
Yeah.
like up.
Mhm.
What is everything that is upper active around any of these topics? Because there's a
Woo!
lot.
A lot. Yes. Woo!
All that in the
In the
pile.
pile, in the pile. Woo!
Encapsulate.
In the pile, in the pile,
And
in the pile.
everything from down below and back behind, up above, way up front, left, right, inside, outside, everything remaining, all in the pile, on the pile. And body, planet, let that go, not, and universe, let that go, not you, not yours, never was yours, never was yours, never was yours. Wow. Wow. And can we shrink all that down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose that.
I choose that. Vaporize.
Vaporize. Vaporize.
Wow. So it's like when you choose, the taking action part is the part that it's like you're choosing almost without knowing or without having clarity. If you're used to the old way of doing it, when you chose, you had a sense of clarity about it. But it's like the clarity comes not necessarily in the choosing of it, it's in the rechoosing of it and the rechoosing of it and the rechoosing of it. So it's like you're choosing, I'm going to do this. I'm going to create this. I choose to generate income using this strategy. Okay.
Yes.
So I'm going to start taking action towards that. I'm going to ask questions around that. I'm going to keep clearing around that.
Right.
And then as I take those steps, I get more information in the co-creation with the authentic universe. And I keep re-choosing, I keep honing my choice. But it's actually another thing I notice in false light, new age things is it's about choosing and letting it go. Give it to the universe. Don't keep re-engaging or you're doubting yourself.
Yes.
Let it go. It's like, well, no, in an aware space, you're not just turning it over to some cosmic entity for them to bring you the goods. You're co-creating it. So it's like you're choosing it. The universe you take action. The universe gives you some information, and then you choose again. You more finely tune.
And I think that's also the trick that is easy to forget is we choose something and then it doesn't show up or something the opposite comes in and then we go to, oh, it didn't work instead of just re-choose because the interference, the manipulated forces want you to stop. They want you to give up. They want you to not choose. And so it's like to keep re-choosing that you're going to have this. Yeah.
And it's a re-choosing from awareness. It's like,
exactly.
Okay,
it's not like
so I
this
took this
hope.
step and this is slightly off. I want more here. Okay, I'm still choosing this direction. I've refined my choice.
Right. And then one of the things that we often think about is like we're not really sure what step to take. And one of the things I was suggesting to a client is sometimes even taking the wrong choice is actually what gets you where you want to go. And that just sometimes just blows people's minds. It's like, what do you mean I can make the wrong choice? But sometimes taking that wrong choice either points you in the right direction because you realize, no, you don't want this, or if you've been going against this brick wall, going the wrong way backwards actually is the way you have to get around.
Yeah. And there is a lot of that when you're co-creating with interference. Interference may have a wall right in front of you.
Right. Okay. So let's pause that part because that's something that I have a different point of view about. So I want to see how you're talking about it is because when you're defining co-creating with interference, because for me, I'm co-creating with the universe and manipulation is trying to resist that. So that's how I see it. So when you say co-creating with interference, you might be just talking about it from a different angle, but I
I
wanted to
am.
find a little bit more of that. Okay.
Yeah, it's like it is a resistance to what you're seeking to create, and almost by definition, all it's doing is resisting.
Right.
And
Uh-huh.
it's just looking for it's just looking for significance and
Right. Exactly.
indicators that this is
Uh-huh.
important, and sometimes it's just to mess with everything. It'll take
Totally.
anything you get, and it'll flip it to the opposite, or it'll
Okay.
agree with you, and then it'll take it a step further off the topic. Like it,
Uh-huh.
some are just to fuck with you, but if you look at the bigger picture of it, you're learning the dance of co-creating in a larger playing field that isn't a sheltered, secured
Mm-hmm.
area. You're co-creating with interference. You're co-creating to work around interference, but
Okay. Yeah, I
it's
think I'm kind of getting it. It's just like I approach it from this different direction, but I kind of see like if it's more like this dance, because if interference wasn't there, you wouldn't be co-creating with them.
yeah.
But the
It
pressure
depends
is
on.
this
See,
dance.
if you look at it as I'm just here to create, then it's simply interference.
Okay.
If you look at the bigger picture of, well, I'm here to become more aware
Uh-huh.
and step into more of me and co-create,
Yes.
the becoming aware, I'm actually, you could spin it and say, I'm actually using the forces of interference deliberately to make myself stronger and more clear.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I play with that game too, because it is one of
Yeah.
those ones is like one of the ways that if you're an infinite being choosing to become on this planet, how do you invite yourself to become bigger and better?
Yeah.
If you have this amazing life, you're living on the beach, nothing's fucking with you, you're
Nothing to
not going to
change.
become the most
Yeah.
amazing person in the world.
Yeah.
But like both of us, we've had major energetic forces messing with us for
Mhm.
our entire lives. So
Yeah.
we had to,
Up
well,
until more recently, less
exactly.
recently, but yeah,
Well, they're still messing with us, but we can
they're just less successful.
exactly, exactly. Because I think about that, it's just like without those challenges, I wouldn't have to become the person I am today.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's something that I think the infinite being doesn't. The infinite being doesn't require challenge and doesn't think in terms of challenge. The
Okay.
infinite being thinks in terms of just having and creating. But the body is almost designed
Mm-hmm.
to grow through resistance.
Yes.
Whether that resistance is gravity, it's like building muscles and
Yeah.
like using your brain and learning, and all those things are crossing resistance to become more.
Right.
And there's something in this
Oh. Uh-huh.
reality about
Mm-hmm.
surpassing resistance to become more. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's something in this reality,
Mm-hmm.
but being doesn't like that. Like that's not native to being, but being is now co-creating with body, and this
Mm-hmm.
is body's reality. This is body's domain.
Yeah.
This is the rules that are played in this, not the
Uh-huh.
rules, but the way, the means of engagement here. So there is that resistance piece. Resistance can be used to, or resistance is used to create
Right.
growth. It's not the only way,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
a big way. That when you look at it as
Okay.
I'm becoming more aware, well, that resistance, you're co-creating
Yeah.
with them
No, I
to
mean,
become more
uh-huh.
aware.
I totally get it, and I still have
Yeah.
resistance to co-creating
Oh,
with
no, I'm with
resistance.
it. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so all the yeah, all the resistance they have to co-creating with resistance that actually
Yeah.
isn't even my resistance.
So what is everything you decided all that stuff means that it doesn't mean?
Oh, okay. Woo.
And in the
Yep.
pile, including everything that you grabbed, all that in the
Yeah.
pile. And what is everything you decided it doesn't mean that it actually does mean?
Whoa, that was huge.
Wow. Wow.
Choo,
And in the
choo, choo.
pile,
Woo.
wow.
Wow.
Encapsulate. And what are all the decision, judgments, conclusions,
Here we go.
computations, projections, expectations, rejections, separations, form, structure, significance? Whew, in
Yeah.
the pile.
So much
Wow.
of it's on the right side.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You need to be at do it the right way.
Uh-huh,
Yeah,
yep.
encapsulate. And what is all the unknowable, unspeakable,
Unspeakable,
unseeable, untouchable, undetectable, unconsciousness, anti-consciousness, energy fog, disinformation cloaking, Wernicke's commands, booby traps. Wow. And all the covert, unseen, unacknowledged, undisclosed energies and
Wow.
frequencies.
Woo.
Bulldozer.
Totally.
And everything from down below for you and the planet. Back behind, up above, way out front, from the left, from the right. Everything from inside, outside, everything remaining on the pile. Wow. And body, planet, universe, let that go. Not you, not yours. Never was yours, never was yours. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Yeah.
Wow.
And can we shrink all that stuff down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose that.
Yeah, I choose that. Vaporize.
Woo.
Wow. Wow. We're sending vocal camera kind of vaporize. Like, no. Wow. Wow. Because it's like anything that has you in polarity kind of skews your capacity to perceive the bigger picture.
Totally.
And that's why, like, I can't say that when I'm doing battle with interference that's what it feels like sometimes. I don't
it always does.
do it so much anymore, but it's like when you're in that space, the other point of view is just not available, but every so often it's useful to get to that bigger point of view. And it's like, it's kind of like on some level arguing with gravity. Like, I'm so pissed off that gravity keeps doing this to me. And it's like, okay, well, on some level, that just is.
Yeah.
Okay. And now we happen to know that we can change it. Not gravity. I haven't figured that one out yet. I don't necessarily have to read. No, I don't know. I haven't played with that one yet so much. But like interference, that we've played a lot with. Right. And we've learned we do have the capacity to change that in our personal realities, and maybe the bigger reality to some degree.
We're changing in the bigger reality.
Yeah, but you don't see it directly.
Correct.
Like I feel it directly in my local reality.
Right.
Out there, it's a little slower to update, but it does. I agree, it does.
Yeah, and that is the thing too. Is like I have this come to the place too that energetic forces will just put up resistance at certain times. Yeah. You know, so it's like there's not a wrongness, there's not a rightness. It's just like it's raining out. It's just like it's raining outside. Right. I don't get mad at the world because it's raining outside, even if I don't like it. Well, yes. I mean, it can happen.
But I don't live there because it's not very.
Right. But it is. It's like arguing with one of those things. It's like, should there be there? Well, probably not. But going there like to make it wrong or whatever, that just gets you in this place that doesn't get you anywhere.
It gets you into struggle.
It gets you into struggle. Yes.
Yeah. And wrongness and blah 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 blah. Yeah. Yeah. So the periodically going into that point of view of that I'm co-creating with interferences, like one of the natural forces, even though I would argue it's not natural, the same way I would argue gravity doesn't need to be natural. And science even kind of has some clue that that's true, but like I just have a gut, like it doesn't have to be natural. And I'm not saying I want it to disappear and everything starts to float up. I was
going to say that, yeah. Like, it seems like it's working for me in most cases.
Right, but what if we have the capacity to also alter that in a localized, contained environment?
Wouldn't it be a contribution to us? Yes.
In places where it could be a contribution.
Yeah, I would totally choose that.
Under certain circumstances.
You're falling off a building. It'd be nice to like change gravity.
Yeah, though I don't fall off of buildings too often, but like,
I don't either. I don't either.
Yeah. It may not be a great time to learn it either.
No, I'm not going to practice.
But you look at people who do like the skateboarding or the weird flipping between buildings, like they know something else about the natural forces because my body can't do what they do. Like, like my body does not yet know how to do what they do.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Wait, but is that actually true though? Does your body know how to do that?
Yeah, that does feel light.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. The question should be is like, would that be a contribution for you?
Everything that all that is.
Yeah, right. Shoot.
Because that's just standing in a limitation. I don't.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's not be there. Yeah.
Everything down below, back behind, up above, way up front, left, right, inside, outside, and body, planet, universe. Let that go. Not you, not yours. Not you, not yours. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. And can we shrink that down to less than nothing?
Yes, I choose that.
So, body, what else is possible?
Woo, and receive.
And receive.
Ooh.
And it just kind of expands things step
Yeah.
by step, and you become more magical and more capable piece by piece.
Right. Yeah.
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 Ooh.
But it's like, so yeah, no, I think we kind of summed that up.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't
Cool.
expect to go through all this, but this is
No,
really
I
cool.
didn't, but this is exactly, yeah, this is exactly what I was looking to come back to. And it's interesting how so much of this stuff is stuff that, you know, you've talked about before, or we've talked about before, but it's like putting it all together in
Yeah.
this place
Yeah.
and with some new information and new awarenesses. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's
And
interesting.
it's not mystical. It's not, you have
Yeah.
magic words. But it is about learning the skill of clearing and taking action and questioning and choosing, and recognizing that you are co-creating with this resistance, this interference, and it's now a new player that is more dynamic in your reality. Like before, it was programmed and it was structured, and it's kind of low level and it's an infinite being. You're like, that's really quite lame. Serious? You think that's going to stop me?
Yeah.
I don't think so. But once you break out, it's in Australia they call it the tall poppy syndrome. It's like you become the thing that sticks out above everything else, your consciousness, your awareness, your capacities. And interference is like, okay, let's go play. And so you have more players, and like, yeah,
And
it's just learning how to.
But that's also why people are here with us, watching this and clearing with us, because we I want to say that, I don't want to say that we've kind of gone first, but we kind of have, and we have some tools that can really help people to move through this.
Yeah, and what we're looking for is, how can you take this information and everything that we have and use it to leapfrog and create even more possibilities that even we can't perceive of.
Yeah.
And show us a path that goes beyond anything we've ever seen.
Right.
Like, that's the kind of co-creation that I'm looking for. It's like, how can I invite others to leapfrog us and then show us new possibilities?
Right. And that's the other thing, is just because that we're advanced in these certain areas and these things that we're teaching, you being on this call with us, you have awarenesses, knowledge, and skills that we don't.
In areas we've never even explored or never even tried to figure out.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that can be really interesting, like when you're looking at stuff and analyzing things, is to always trust your awareness above even experts. You know, because I think when you're going to tap in, you're going to find that, you know, so much of our stuff is going to read. But one of the parts that can be really challenging, and it happened to me when I was first, you know, in classes with people who knew way more than I did, there were things that they said that I just kind of knew weren't right.
Yeah.
But I didn't fully trust that that was right, because they know more than I do.
Yeah.
Whew. But that's what we want to invite you to do. And that's what we want you to really explore with us in this video, or any of the other video series, or even in the classes that we teach, because we want you to be with us on this journey, so that we can
want
help
you to show us new things that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
We want you to step into the magic and your capacities and your magnificence, your brilliance. Like, how can you leapfrog us and co-create a bigger picture that lets all of us go to a whole new place? Like, this lets other people leapfrog and go to a whole new place.
Yeah.
So it's like, how can we co-create with each other? That's the game I'm here to play.
Yeah.
Yay! Cool.
Yeah.
I love that we could kind of wrap up that big picture. It's like, because it's so easy to get kind of wrapped in the minutia of things and lose the biggest view. And that's thank you for bringing that up. That's a great view.
Yeah. So if people want to find out more about working with you, Jaden, how do they do that?
Probably going to my website. It's www.jaden, Jaden or dash Fox, FOX.com. And I have tons of YouTube videos like this one, and tons of resources. And if you're looking for a program to learn all these tools, the starting program is called Out Creating the Matrix. And that's kind of where everything starts.
Yeah, and that totally recommend that program. That was where I first met Jaden 3, 4, 5 years ago, whatever
5,
it was.
6, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like it jump started my awareness, or exponentialized it so much. So I totally recommend that program.
Thank you. Thank you. And where can people find you?
Yeah, well, they can find me on my website, which is maxriggs.com. That's MAXRIGGS.com. I'm also on Facebook and YouTube. And I have quite a few programs that you can check out. So one of the things that I often do is that I have courses on body and weight, speeding your body's healing, moving beyond abuse. And all of those have the first class you can watch for free. And that's kind of like my gift to you. And so you could also see if this class is going to be right for you. And I'm also happy to answer any of your questions, because I know that there's not many people out there that you can really ask and get really valuable information back from. Because I think about, like, if I could have asked myself or Jaden, years ago about where I should start or what's really going on in this world and universe, that would have been so helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a lot of what we do, even with our clients, is just help them to see their clarity outside of all the interference. And that requires another conscious person sometimes to reflect back to you what your clarity is. Doesn't not necessary, but it's highly helpful sometimes.
Yeah, or I'd say it's like, you can clear out anything on your own if you have enough time. You don't need us, but it can, talking with somebody who's been through it before, or can tap into your world and reality, it can greatly speed things.
Yeah.
So that's how I look at it, because no one needs us, but we can be really helpful.
Yep.
Woo! Yep. There's a lot of energy on that. Yeah.
Well said. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Yay!
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody. Thanks, Jaden.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you everybody for joining us, and we'll see you in whatever the next video is.
Yep. Sounds great. Bye.
Bye.